Jeremy says, come on, let's go.
Yeah, I saw that. Wow, well, we have a great show for everybody that's been waiting. That's pretty cool. We're live, by the way, guys. So welcome, come one, come all, to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk. This is episode 54. Per usual, my name is William Kale from Coinigy.com. I'm going to get this out of there right off the bat. I am in no way associated with IOCoin, but they sent me a t-shirt. And when somebody sends me a t-shirt, I'm most likely going to wear it. So anybody who wants to send an XL t-shirt, feel free to find the Coinigy address on our website and send it in, because I just might wear it on the show. So welcome. Brian, how you doing tonight? Brian Beamish, the Rational Investor.
Hey, bud. Nice to see you again. Hello, everybody out in internet land. Hi, Jeremy. We got going, so hope you're happy. If I go like that, it means I'm talking to our lounge right now. So.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
I was surprised how many people our little site is getting pretty robust, and they're all like, "Come on, where's this BATT? What's going on here? We're gonna revolt here." So that's great.
Right on. And we'll segue into Mr. Alex Sterk of Blocktalk fame. What's going on tonight?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, so I got my own swag too. I'm in Vancouver now, so I'll probably go barge down on Brian's door a little later tonight, and yeah, give him some swag. I got some Ubic poker chips that were given out in town here for an event. I also got a sick shirt for Silk Road, and I'm not affiliated with them, but I do love their service. And yeah, there's been
be careful.
Yeah, easy now.
But yeah, I'm live calling from Decontrol. It's a meetup space here in Vancouver. Very decentralized technologies, and lots of really cool projects going on. Some interviews this Saturday. We have Peter Risen from Bitcoin Unlimited coming down to the space here. So that should be an interesting talk. Yeah.
Make sure to ask them how much they're spending on ads on Reddit, because I just get bombarded every time I sign on.
Yeah, that'll be a good question, is what their media budget is, because it's got to be almost as big as their spam fee budget. But I think now with all the Bitcoin Unlimited stuff going, or all the hard forks going on right now, there's not a lot of network spam. Blocks are fairly reasonable right now. So
yeah, well, hey, with the bad comes the good, I guess. And I know we're all kind of keeping an eye on the various BIPs that are approaching. What is it, BIP 91, and then we have BIP 148 towards the end of the month. So things could get interesting here pretty quickly.
So with this BIP 91, though, change is happening now, right?
Apparently it has to be confirmed past, what is it, 60% or something like that, and it's happening. But then once it's in place, it has to remain there for a certain number of blocks, something like that. So that could happen within the next couple of weeks, prior to August 1st. That's all I know, though. I mean, I'm definitely not an expert on that stuff, but
the 91 was what I interpreted. It was supposed to be kind of like a seamless solution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alex, are you still hearing that this thing's going to break apart here?
I don't know. I think everyone's pretty confident now that Segwit is going to be triggered in one way or another. It's just the whole fallout of what happens in the next 6 months is kind of been a topic for debate still, having a hard fork for the block size, and a lot of there's 4 clients floating around. There's Bitcoin ABC now. There's so much going on, it's hard to keep track of it. And I'm just getting distracted by a lot of the Ethereum shit going on too.
Yeah, you mean the new Ethereum hard fork that's inevitable?
Well, that was some of the Twitter jokes I was reading today. It was the hacker that took a bunch of money today from some new exploit. Didn't take as much as he could have, so he probably was thinking, if I take too much, they're going to do another hard fork. Right. So let's keep it within reason. So I think he only took 30 million instead of 150 million.
I heard that Charlie Lee. I read his tweets. It's so funny watching him. That guy's hilarious.
That guy's a riot. That guy is a.
But I just heard him just picking apart Ethereum, just right, left, and center. Just going, if you guys can't, how did his line go? He said it was. I could go find the tweet, but he was like, if you can't even solve this problem, there's mountains of problems ahead of you. I can't remember how it went, but. It was really interesting.
It's a pretty accurate statement, at least in my opinion. Although, they are doing some pretty serious, significant things in terms of like the corporate side. I mean, MasterCard just jumped on with them. Cisco just jumped on with them as far as the Ethereum Alliance stuff. So, but a lot of that is kind of they're trying to do their own permissioned type of internal systems, and I really don't know no one really knows exactly what they're doing, but
I think they're like pushing and supporting a standard, but it probably just boils down to a couple of events and lunch meetings that are
right, exactly,
burning through a lot of money for really, I don't know, it's a lot of marketing. There's some private network stuff being developed, but it's really hard to say that enterprise Ethereum Alliance is really accomplishing a lot, because it is really just kind of being I don't know, an evangelist kind of with all these companies. So it's good. I mean, like we in the Ubic community are happy that they're pushing a standard like we are. It's just it's still very much a buzzword in that community. Like I'm not sure if they're progressing it more, but blockchain as a buzzword is really hot right now.
Do you think that the Ethereum will overshadow, the Ethereum issues will overshadow Bitcoin's concerns?
I don't know. Like, it's definitely not.
I think we're going to get past this and nobody will even remember it happened a week from now, to be honest with you. I mean, at least as far as this specific issue.
The whole Bitcoin issue, or the Ethereum?
No, the Ethereum issue. I mean, this, basically the people that lost money were a few ICOs.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's not like the necessary. I guess technically the consumer base was affected because they invested in those ICOs, but I don't see this as some kind of contention where people are going to have to hard fork, or really the direction of Ethereum is going to change because of it. It's probably just going to be patched in whatever respect it can be. But
yeah, I think they're just going to move past it, because it is. They've already had a couple smaller issues, and it's kind of like, well, what is the breakthrough number? Like, if $1 billion gets stolen, do they do a hard fork then? I think it has to be a very big problem and one single problem, because this issue was completely immediate. None of these funds are recoverable. They're already kind of like being mixed and sent around. So whereas the DAO was kind of happening in slow motion, they had like a real month to kind of solve the problem and only change one account status. Whereas, undoing and trying to trace a lot of the transactions to coordinate a hard fork without the hacker just moving addresses is going to be really difficult. So I don't think they're even going to attempt it. But like,
Jeremy in our chat just made a good point too, and he said the DAO was like a way bigger percentage of the market cap at the time that it happened compared to, this paltry little 32 million that we lost here.
Earlier in the week, $7 million was stolen because an ICO on their website, they had the address to send to, and and somebody changed it like when the ICO started, so they hacked the website and just put their own address in, and now they got $7 million in Ether. Like, and apparently it's all the same group. Like, some people are seeing that, like all these Slack notifications that are going around of bots that are like, hey, load up your wallet in our service.
The My Ether wallet stuff.
Yeah, so I think a lot of this is kind of coordinated, and it's all from a very similar party, or these are like hackers who are looking for vulnerabilities and looking to take a lot of the money.
We should probably take the opportunity to let anybody listening know, do not click on any link that claims anything with regards to My Ether wallet. There's basically a link that I obviously haven't clicked it, and I don't know the whole issue with it, but there's people spreading it all over all the various currencies, Slack, chat rooms, and everything. So just be mindful of that. So
Yep. Yeah. Warn your friends. There's a lot going on right now. It's lots of money.
You're pretty in on the inside of this though, Alex. I mean, you probably have a pretty good idea who these people are.
I don't know. Like the thing that happened today, I guess for those listening in who don't or are coming here to learn more about it, there was a parity client. So Bitcoin or Ethereum has two versions of their wallet, and they're written in two different languages. The one that's written by Gavin Wood, the Parity Technologies team, had a vulnerability added into the code back in January that changed how multi-signature accounts work, and it allowed anyone to be able to drain them. So why was this merged in? Yeah, like why would they even change such a core function like that, like multi-sig, without even being properly vetted? And it existed for this entire since January 17th. So to me, it almost like smells like an inside job again. It's like there's people who are like this was at the beginning of ICO season. So a lot of ICOs that use the parity client to build their multi-sigs, they're all the ones getting targeted. So if anyone wasn't hip to it, then they're
that's sort of what Charlie was going on about. I seem to remember him making reference to that parity.
Yeah, so I don't know. It stinks too much to say that it's just it was an accident. It's like I don't know. It's kind of convenient.
Like, yeah, I know. And if anything, I guess what really bugs me about this is, do you know what's going to derail crypto? It's going to be these people that are inside. They're the when the NASDAQ broke apart and all the scandals about Enron and WorldCom and all that, you guys probably don't even remember these stories, but they were horrific billion-dollar.
A few.
Right?
I'm not that young.
Now, that's what killed the dot-com bubble. I actually make the argument, and it's really sad, but, when I teach my students and stuff, I make the argument that, what's actually going to kill this crypto bubble, or boom, we'll call it now, is actually, there's going to be some horrific scandal. And the worst part about it is, what I'm hearing is it's probably going to be perpetuated by people on the inside. It really bums me out.
Sure. I mean, it's like anything, you're the folks that hold the keys essentially to either hold the majority of a currency or, things like that. There's really a temptation that always exists there to bend the rules, in their favor. So, I mean, that's what always happens with the financial systems in general. So, kind of moving towards the whole decentralization aspect. I mean, in reality, that's kind of what these markets are supposed to, in an ideal world, prevent, right? Because it's all decentralized and no one party has control. But we're still seeing, obviously, a lot of centralization of the decentralization, and a lot of people still hold a lot of power. So, but
and I'm just curious for people who just don't quite understand, Alex. Can you make the comparison that as Litecoin is a clone of Bitcoin, Ubic is a clone of Ethereum?
Yeah, like that's a pretty good comparison. I mean, we made more changes to the Ethereum code base than Litecoin did to Bitcoin.
And that's not really the question. The question really is Ubic as vulnerable as Ethereum seems to be here? Like, why is this is, they always say once is, maybe it was an accident, right? Twice is, this is getting a bit fishy. 3 is, there's a trend developing.
So yeah, we have a lot smaller focus and we're trying to be a little more conservative. So like we probably could have had a parity client if we really wanted to expend the resources to do it. But it was outside of our skill set. We didn't have anyone in our community that was confident enough to do it, and we didn't see the need for it. So, and a lot of exchanges and stuff, they all use the same version of the Ethereum client that we ported over. So, we don't try and add anything that we're not, I wouldn't say experts, but we're very knowledgeable, and like we know the Golang implementation like the back of our hand. We have very experienced developers in it. So porting over changes like that, we would have been going over with a fine-tooth comb. And yeah, the conservative approach that we have is really just trying to make sure that our community is safe. Like we're trying not to grow too fast. Ethereum has a lot of marketing right now, and a lot of dumb money comes in, so they're really easy to target. Like any
That's a
community.
good point as far as just to back you up a little bit, Alex. I mean, as far as you know, when there's a flaw found in Ethereum, it's potentially devastating. But that gives you guys who have significantly smaller market cap a chance to patch that bug without having devastating consequences. Whereas Ethereum might have to do some kind of crazy fork, you guys might be able to, you know, implement some kind of solution because you don't have so many millions riding on it, essentially. So
Yeah,
I mean,
we're like,
it's like a redundant kind of version, you know, as far as bug testing and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, like Bitcoin is almost like the icebreaker for all of crypto, where it's kind of like it's the one taking all the flack from regulators and stuff. And Ethereum is kind of the same thing for Ubic. It's really hitting all these technical hurdles, the scaling problems, far before we're ever going to have to worry about them. And we're able to, you know, have a more stable approach. Like I don't value our network anywhere more than Ethereum. Like it doesn't make any sense. We're not where the innovation is, but we're very particular in like, hey, they have a really good product. Let's be one step removed from the innovation, not the leading edge. And that's how like Windows.
In the startup world, that's referred to as the second mover advantage. Basically, let the first mover deal with all the hard stuff, and then you swoop in and get the spoils, like, essentially.
Majority of enterprises on Windows 7 right now. Like Windows 10 is still being debugged.
Right.
So we can be the Windows 7 and you know, let Ethereum be the Windows 10.
That's a terrible analogy, but okay.
No? we're just another version of Linux. I don't know, but I'm getting off topic here. We don't need to talk about Ubic too often. I got lots to do that I'll release later on.
Okay, I just well, I got you here. I like to pick your brain. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll go for a beer later, bro. Yeah.
Right. And also too, you know, my perspective is there's a lot of people coming into this space that haven't got, you know, to be honest with you, I don't think that they would even understand the conversation we just tried to have. I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of what you said kind of went over my head because, you know, I'm just an old dinosaur. So I think you just need to appreciate that as we sort of expand out into the world. If anything, you almost have to try and, you know, dumb your presentation down as much as you can. Because I'm just noticing, right? I'm talking to a lot of new people. And a lot of these new people got sucked into buying the top of the market here. And not only that, but they really didn't even know exactly what the heck it is they're actually buying. So just be mindful of that, Alex. You actually, as a emissary of crypto, it may seem really simplistic to you. It may really seem like, geez, I keep saying the same darn thing over and over. They're just not getting it. But you gotta break this right down to the most simplest common denominator. It just, you know, from my perspective, I think that's actually what this space kind of needs a bit. So.
Yeah, and having some meetups downstairs here talking more about those issues. It's like not only like to explain Bitcoin, you have to improve people's technology literacy to kind of like get the point across of like, yeah, this is why this network's important and how it's different. But then also too, like teaching the financial literacy of owning your own money and being able to invest in things on a whim. Like it is so easy to send your money anywhere, but that doesn't mean you should.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And in a weird sort of way, you could argue that Big Brother, to a certain degree, kind of really doesn't want to give the public this kind of discretionary power, because they're probably going to end up getting themselves into trouble.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, your average Joe getting into this space, it's still there's no protections for you. I mean, really, and there's so much malware out there, and there's so much. It's scary. So, you know, I mean, we've been getting just tons of voicemails from new users, obviously, the last couple months, and
Now they're calling you voicemails. Oh boy.
Yeah. I actually recently had I had my wife record a voicemail message basically saying, unfortunately, we're unable to take support via phone. Please email support. You know, if it's a business matter, leave a voicemail, because it was getting pretty crazy.
I can imagine. And one thing I'll say to you, Alex, and I actually got this the other day, and it absolutely floored me. I think you have to expand your brain. It can't be in the basements of decentrals anymore.
Get your brain out of the basement, Alex.
They have beer here.
Yeah, I know, but this is going big time. Some guy actually just out of nowhere said, Brian, we're having a crypto conference in Vegas, and we want you down here talking to a room of like 1,000 people. It's like, what? Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to understand, this is going mainstream, and the audiences are getting really big. So, you know, pants optional meetings, can't do those anymore.
Right, yeah. But just to finish on on my point, which
sorry,
was,
I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. So when I would, you know, call these folks back, I mean, the first thing out of my mouth is, look, you need to understand what you're getting into here. I mean, this is not, you know, we're not FDIC insured here. This is, there's people that are going to actively be trying to get into your system, to get at your wallets, to hack into your exchange account. You need to be extremely vigilant. You know, just getting into the space, do your research. You know, the usual, the big three: keep everything in cold storage, don't trade anything, or don't put anything in an exchange that you don't intend to trade, and assume everything is going to get hacked and stolen tomorrow. those are my big three rules. But so, you know, that's
nice and happy.
All you can do is try to educate people, and yeah, basically. So
and then on top of that, you got to deal with price action.
yeah, right. Once you get through the murky waters of security and all that shit, then you actually have to trade. But speaking of trading, should we get looking at some charts?
I guess that's probably as good a segue as it gets. Eh?
I'd be curious to get Brian's take on the Ethereum movement today.
Yep.
Actually, it was really cool. We put out and I don't know whether I guess it was off of Bitcoin. You know, what I like to do with my students is I love to empower them, and I love to see that aha moment. And I've been working with setups forever. And one setup actually I learned from like one of my first days back in the 1980s, like forever ago. And it's so cool. I love actually like associating with a student that happens to just sort of feel that setup that's a part of them. And we tweeted one out the other day. I replied to a guy, Zoinky, who I just love. This guy's a character. He's got a funny name on Twitter, but if you can follow him, I think he calls himself, anyway, Sushi Nakamoto or something like that. I can't remember. If you go on TradingView, I think he goes by the name Zoinky. Really, really smart individual. Anyway, he and I were chatting the other day. And it was interesting as we were coming into those 38.2s on Bitcoin, and we've been talking about that level forever. It was interesting watching the conversation he and I had back and forth. We were kind of like, yeah, you know what, the risk reward of going long down here is not bad. And we had just some of the most beautiful technical setups all developed to go long off of that pivot there. I think if anything, when I look at the Ethereum chart, what I think I saw was a bit of a trap that was laid there. And I don't know whether I can get to the point of actually feeling optimistic about Ethereum just yet. But I do like the fact that they've sort of just knocked the fluff out of the market. And I also like the fact. Can I cut you off? Pardon?
When you say trap, are you implying that there's maybe some kind of ulterior motive, like to the hack, and traders just saw that and some big whales started to mess with the market based on that?
You know,
just curious what your definition of trap is, I guess.
Yeah, you know, a picture says 1,000 words. What's sort of your favorite Ethereum proxy you'd like to look at if we were going to look at anything?
I'm usually Poloniex, basically ETH BTC.
That's interesting. So you still actually default to Polo, right?
Well, when I'm looking at.
No, that's fine. I mean, there's no wrong answer here. If anything, just your answer is sort of speaks to me, right? So, when first and foremost, and I suppose it's interesting how, like a year or two ago, we would never have started our conversation off with Ethereum, right? Doesn't that seem kind of interesting how, we're actually starting off talking about Ethereum? I think what I see is what they call a megaphone pattern. It's a really tough pattern to trade. And actually, the market that I follow looks a little bit different than this, but there are a couple site members that, this is an interesting chart. A little bit different, but something along the lines like that. It's not really the best example here. But if you ever see this, right, and if you ever see my chart, sometimes I put this symbol right here, right? Whenever you see that, this is, in essence, this is a tough market to trade. They also call this an expanding wedge. And in essence, you can, and what's really cool is you can actually see the cute little market structure signals at the pivots. But really, I think probably what's caught my attention more is what do I want to do here? Remove all drawing tools, right? If I look at price action here, I just don't know whether we've finished cleaning up yet. In fact, what's really funny about this is another setup that we have in our library that a lot of my students are just absolutely in love with. And you see how we have this sort of market structure bottom, M's and W's, right? And, big shout out. I don't know whether, Michael, you're still, if you're watching tonight, but we had a site member here who just pounded the table. You got to buy Ethereum here based on all the technical analysis and stuff. Just hats off to Michael. Brilliant call. So, if you want somebody to actually listen to, seems to understand the Ethereum chart. I think his name is Michael Kohler. I don't know whether he has a Twitter feed. If you're out there, Michael, I mean, what's really interesting I found with a lot of my students is they do beautiful analysis, but they just don't have the self-confidence in them. They just haven't done this long enough that they just don't have the self-confidence to believe. And hopefully, Michael, you see this image. Trust me, man, just start believing in yourself. You're a really, really good analyst. But, here we are here. Does it sort of seem like we're maybe just sort of caught in no man's land right here? You heard me squawk for the past, Jesus, how long have we been doing this? At least a couple of years, eh?
A couple of years now.
There is our reload zone. And the cool part about it, as Alex likes to point out, is hopefully my message doesn't change very often. So, it's the same poop, different pile. What do you think, Alex? Will you attest that I'm pretty consistent?
You are the most consistent person I think I've ever met, Brian.
Right on.
He says it almost like an insult.
No,
hey,
they're good.
I'll take that as a compliment every day of the week.
In the world of trading, it is very much a compliment, yes.
Yes.
So hopefully you can see this market structure. And what's interesting too is we have some interesting key lows against here. Now we're looking at it this way. I see this slightly different. We're actually looking at this relative to BTC. Most of the people that I work with, they want me to look at this versus US dollar. So it's slightly different image.
Feel free to flip over there if you want, Brian.
Well, actually I think this chart actually tells me more than I need to know. So we can do both. Doesn't really matter. Point here is, and it's interesting that we talk about Ethereum. What is it called? Enterprise or something like that?
Yeah.
Enterprise Alliance.
They're going corporate, right? And all that kind of crap, right? Wall Street. Remember, and everybody on Twitter, the first thing that I said when I heard that the state of Delaware, I don't even know what the hell it's called. They said that stocks can now actually transfer their ownership to the blockchain. I was just like, Alex, get your Ubic butt down to Delaware now. That is just a monstrous opportunity. I sure hope you guys have plans to try and take advantage of that. But the point that I would just make here is, you know, and it's interesting because when I first start with a lot of new people to trading, I give them an assignment. And it's just simply find me weekly W's, right? So can everybody see, and hopefully they can, it shouldn't be rocket science. Can you see the W down here? And we could actually make an argument this could be like a monthly W. So it's interesting that we're talking about how Ethereum is an institutional asset, right? And there's like, you know, big boys and all that kind of crap. And the interesting thing is most institutions can't even look at an asset until it has a good weekly structure working to believe that this thing's actually going to even survive.
Sure.
I think too, you know, there's a gentleman on Twitter who's a really big fan of the Wyckoff model, and I saw him repeatedly through the winter make reference to these kickbacks. And now really, to judge that this thing is for real, it's actually you want to watch the behavior right in here. And you notice how price just calmed down really politely right through this little window. You see that? So price broke out through the top, came back down and tested the original breakout and just consolidated and said, yep, I'm a bull, I want to be a bull, right? Away we go. So this is obviously a monstrously important level for Ethereum. If I was going to be working stink bids, trying to get coins in on the cheap, that's probably where I'd be looking. And the sad part about it is what's it going to take to get price to come down here? Is it going to take a lot of enthusiasm or maybe a lot of pessimism?
My guess would be pessimism.
And maybe talk of things like hacks.
Sure.
You guys remember, and we used to do it like a couple years ago on the site. There was this Spanish guy who did this interview. Do you guys remember that? And people circulated, talking about
and they do the
DAO hack, right? And the
captions below it. Yeah.
I'm actually surprised I haven't seen that tweet floating around, or you know and they would just dub in the lines, you know, oh, and then those Ethereum suckers, blah 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 blah, and he had like this really funny laugh. Do you remember that anyway?
Oh yeah.
So you know, we got to actually get back to those kind of conversations. It's been a while since we've had that kind of environment, and maybe you know the silly ICO season is sort of fodder for that, right? I mean, and again. To me, what I'm hearing about this parody, that just smacks of amateur. That's not very professional. That's almost a joke. And in fact, if I looked at that as a professional, I would say, this is a fraud. Somebody did this intentionally. You don't make those kind of mistakes accidentally and call yourself a professional. And these guys, you know, they get interviewed by CNBC and around the world. I saw a Forex house was interviewing this Gavin guy as a crypto professional. Well, if he's accidentally doing this kind of stuff, saying he's not a professional, that's completely amateur. If he is a professional, then what it means is there's something funny going on here. So long and short of it here is, and this is often how price action works, is who's buying up here? I mean, really, come on. It's just plain as day. All right. And the worst part about it is if you want to make money from trading, you have to prevent yourself from buying here. You cannot get sucked into this euphoria. You have to look around everybody and you have to simply say, you know, great, I love the story. It's totally awesome, but you're not getting my money up here. I'll be, you know, this is my money. Kind of like what Will was telling you earlier. When you come into this crypto space, you got to actually be defensive. You got to say, hey, you know, these people are actually trying to take my money. And you could argue the market in all its innocence and all its beauty. Do you think maybe it was convenient for some maybe sellers up here to inject some serious optimistic euphoria into the public's eyes to get them to buy into this? You know, did they actually buy Ethereum because they had a choice, or did they buy Ethereum because they had to participate in these ICOs?
That's a great point. And, you know, I've met folks kind of in real, I'm getting an echo. Yeah, sorry, it's driving me nuts. But I've met people basically, you know, in real life, just overhearing a conversation at the bar, basically talking about Ethereum, and it's like those those exact sentiments, kind of just like, oh, I'm on such a high note, wow, euphoric, and I just need to get in and like da 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 da, and I'm just gonna make all this money on Ethereum, and I'm just thinking, man, you know, I don't know. I've been looking at the chart. We're getting up there. All these ICOs are getting a little crazy. So
yeah, and and with the weird part about it is that actually becomes a self-correcting mechanism. Can
that's
these
true,
ICOs that have come to market, can they pay their rent in Ethereums? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to maybe liquidate some of this funding so that they can get dollars to actually go buy computer equipment, pay rent, pay taxes, blah, 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 blah. You know, so in a weird sort of way, and in the stock market, it's the same thing. In essence, through the winter and the spring, we do the, you know, they call it flogging paper. You know, getting people to participate in private placements. And it's interesting in this space that's happening too. Our buddy Simon, he's basically in the same business. And I would look at these ICOs in a very similar light, people watching this show. This isn't any different. This is capitalism 101. And the worst part about this is a lot of these tokens, you know, people did the financings here, and they're sort of, the tokens are in escrow, they're locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're watching price sort of evaporate here. So what do you think happens as these sort of lockups expire? Do you think the people are like motivated? Like, oh crap,
Yeah, they're not.
yeah,
Yeah,
get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Right? So it almost becomes like now we had the tsunami, which pushed price up. And as the funding comes through, we're going to probably get a washout back down into reload zones. And we do, you know, technicians like Brian start getting all excited as we get back into respectable trade locations. It's almost cliche how this game works. I don't know whether that gives you a pretty clear idea of what I'm thinking. Could I be a buyer here? Sorry?
I said, yep, it's pretty clear.
And when it was a couple of smaller ICOs, you know, only raising a couple million or 10 million, maybe Ethereum market could sustain that dumping for paying costs, and it was fairly reasonable. But now when you get these $100 million or $200 million ICOs,
that's a lot of paper, right?
Yeah, you know, I wonder. I mean, why do you need that much money? I mean, some of these ICOs that I'm seeing are just outrageous. It's like it's a simple website, you know, that quite frankly Rob and I could build in a weekend, and they're raising millions and millions. And I'm just thinking, what is this money going towards? I mean, are you going to hire literally 2,000 developers to work on this? You know, so it's kind of putting the cart before the horse and getting all this money, and then it's like, well, what's your motivation to even see the project through to completion? You know, a lot of these folks, you know, not everybody, but a lot of these folks don't even have any kind of track record whatsoever. They're virtual unknowns. So,
yeah, but you know, the general
it makes things interesting regardless. It's fun to watch, but
yeah, and you know that I think the sad part about it is that did people who did participated in the Ethereum ICO, did the price ever come back to the ICO level?
No, it hit about $1 American, and the ICO prices I think was like 33 cents.
So a lot of those people that did that deal, if they ever hear Ethereum ICO or Ethereum related ICO, they're going to have that memory in the back of their heads. And if anything, it almost sets them up a little bit for disaster, right? There's also that. I just wanted to throw that in.
Kind of at a deep psychological level. Oh,
yeah,
there you go. Look, the
what I'm seeing is a lot of these coins come to market. Well, look at that. Ethereum parity wallet hacked. Jeez, weren't we just talking about that?
There's Coinigy bringing you all the up-to-date news about
I know. You got to hand it to these Coinigy guys. They do a pretty damn good job. So next time we talk to them, somebody give them a compliment. That was for you, Will. Anyway.
I appreciate it.
So, you know, like the chart speaks for itself. And like I said, we actually have a setup that we like to call the shark setup, which just basically says you're going to try and find some sort of market structure. And if the 78.6 fib lines up off of that level, that's a great place to work a bid. And we see a lot of coins just go zing, zing. It's just beautiful. We have one site member who's been working with me since the winter time, and he's actually in the school now, Kevin. And man, he's like a shark's shark, if that's possible. He's just, and it's cool because in Cryptopia, it's such a funny market, that trading that Cryptopia. But he's just having a field day in there. So way to go.
By the way, speaking of Cryptopia, sorry to cut you off. We're about 90% done with the Cryptopia full trading integration. So you guys will be able to track your wallets and trade through Coinigy on Cryptopia soon.
Awesome. A lot of my sleep.
Next week or two, we're in kind of going through a final testing matrix on it, looking for any edge cases.
You're adding all their pairings, or just still only Bitcoin?
We are still discussing internally.
Well, they dropped some of their own pairing. They dropped the Uno pair, and then I guess they were under severe DDoS, and they're cutting some features just to try and like lighten the load of their client. So yeah, that might be something to touch base with them again. Like, hey, we'll add more pairs, but tell us which ones actually have volume or like.
Yeah, I mean that we have the capability to basically see the volume on all the pairs, and I think what we're going to do is kind of do some kind of volume-based adding / removing type of situation. Really, probably only adding. But the issue then is, with new markets, you have to have a threshold for minimum volume before you delist them and stuff. So we'll figure it out. I don't want to bore everybody with that, but Cryptopia is coming to Coinigy soon. So
yeah, a lot of people.
Like my favorite.
Been really chomping for that. So that's
yeah, we're getting a lot of mainly positive requests.
So I don't know whether I'm allowed to say this, but somebody on my site just said just got some free CK tokens. 28 sold half at 57 ETH. Way to go, Preston! Hats off. So isn't that like total crypto? And, I don't know whether anybody, Alex, would you be even interested in that token? Do you even know what it is?
I had a laugh about it today because somebody sent it to the Ethereum hackers. Like, the fuck of the day goes to the Ethereum hacker. So it's like a Twitter bot that just like every day they pick one person to send to their wallet one fuck token. So yeah.
Nice.
And that's some of the beauty of this too. So on Saturday I saw a presentation for Rare Pepe, if you guys have heard about it at all. It's these Pepe trading cards where, Brian, I'm sure someone is going to make a Rare Pepe of you, or maybe we'll make a BATT Rare Pepe. But
no.
The funny thing is, if you have a Bitcoin address that's anywhere public, people can just send it to that, and then it's like almost spam in your wallet, or it's permissionless trolling, and it's built with all the same security.
Is that the same as those unique cards? Remember, I watched a presentation. One of your guys, what was it? It was like Breakout or Bro Coin or something like that.
Oh. Yeah.
And they had like unique cards, special cards that you had to like try, and they were like really coveted. Is that the same sort of thing you're talking about?
Yeah, it's very much the same thing. They were doing like trading cards that were just like a deck of cards. So like they handed out 52 cards to early beta testers, and they were trading for really good money. And they were like prizes in poker tournaments. But yeah, like there's also Spells of Genesis. There's a bunch of trading card games and gaming with blockchain. Actually, this Saturday there'll be a combo on that. If you want to drop by the space here, Brian, you're more than welcome while I'm in town.
Yeah, I think that's it. You know what? That's a plan. Just so everybody should know about. I was right in the middle of my day. Alex just said, "Oh, I'm here in town. I'm outside your door."
I should have knocked on your door. Yeah.
So you just caught me a little off guard there, Slick. But yeah, I'll make plans to be down there for Saturday, sure.
Cool. I'm a last minute kind of guy. It's just like, at the last minute I say, hey, let's look at the wheel. We got, 30 minutes left.
Yeah, we should get on that wheel.
Did I give this Ethereum my due? I sure hope so.
I think so.
I think, bounce off the old high is probably a good plan for the future. That's a good prediction. I stand by your prediction, Brian. I'm right in that same.
I also stand by your prediction.
Great. And the interesting thing is, if we pull up our old buddy Ubic, actually, I'm doing exactly the same strategy there too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to comment on Ubic price action, but
yeah, no, we don't have to. All right, let's pull up the wheel and let's give these people.
Yeah, Alex, can you handle the wheel tonight?
That'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
In the chat.
Let me pull up the wheel here. Uno
It's in
momento,
our
senores.
private Hangouts chat.
Yeah, I got her here.
I don't know. What's the feedback on the YouTube page and on Twitter? Are people enjoying this, or?
Yeah, let me go through here. BTC Kyle says I'm on a boat.
Okay.
And then Jeremy Fradkoff says, you mean a crypto yacht? So yeah, good stuff going on in the chat there.
Okay.
Right. Let's you guys see the wheel on my screen here?
What's the big winner?
Well, I can give it a fresh spin here, just so if you guys are watching.
You don't want to do that one? I saw you.
Look how massive this wheel is, Brian.
Yeah, we're gonna have to add some additional criteria to the wheel or something. Like,
is there a lot of requests?
Yeah, we had, I think, 49.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, we were just talking about this before the show. Nautilus coin.
Nautilus. Ooh, I've been a buyer of him lately.
Yeah, Brian Kelly's project, Nautilus coin. It's kind of like his little side deal. And now, in other news too, Brian Kelly is putting together an investment trust to invest in altcoins. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, actually, this is not a bad example of actually investing in out of favor names, right? I mean, hopefully you can see. I don't think it's going to go the route of things like Arch. I don't think it's going to go the route of things like Max Kaiser's promotion. But you can definitely see that it's right down at the bottom end of its range here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And good old Brian. I love to simply go and buy against the bottom end of ranges. Mm-hmm. But we all need to understand that this gentleman is quite a notorious operator in the market. He knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I'm a little worried that, if we start talking about...
A lot of volume there.
Huh?
There's a lot of volume there recently. Interesting.
Yeah, but I'm a little concerned that he's actually laying a trap here. And I wouldn't be surprised if he actually goes and washes these lows just to piss everybody off. But at the same time, I do like the fact that we're basically down near a bottom end of a range here. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some shenanigans against this level. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. But, what I like to teach my level oneers is, level oneers, all my students, and really this whole community, is half of my job is just to simply try and get you guys just to stop buying these like face rip up moves, right? Because if you turn on CNBC, if you turn on the talking heads, right, you open up the rags or whatever, this is when they're going to be talking about this thing. And usually through here, it's actually fairly quiet. So I also like to teach my level oneers that, the very first thing that we should do as technicians to try and sort of tilt the odds in our favor is we really want to try and find, just like we showed you on the Ethereum, right? Show me weekly Ws. And we've talked lots about this. This is an interesting one. They really made it. This, if anything, you see how this is acting? This is what I think he's up to right now. So just be cognizant of that. We might see a little FU move. I could very easily see him try and really fuck with the public here and see if he can get them to box. So just be cognizant of that, okay, guys? But at the same time, if I can try and concentrate on charts that have weekly Ws working, then at least I've got a bit of defense in my position. And full disclosure, I went and just bought some of the double bottom breakout because I liked it so much. And full disclosure too, I've played this coin a few times. We obviously, well, not obviously, but you can go back and look at the BATT shows. We probably talked about it a couple of years ago. Playing this move, sell halves on doubles, sell halves on doubles. If anything, this is a great example of what we call our second and third cars. where you're going to get your original capital back on these moves up here from the purchases down here. And then when the market washes itself out, comes right back down, starts showing you signs of, hey, you know, I'm sort of near a bottom. We're going to go and strap on another car. And obviously this is predicated on the idea that, hey, we're in a bull market and I want to get as long and make as much money as possible on this thing. So at this point, we had a second car on, and same sort of logic, just roughly. I'm just going to ballpark it here, but you know, sell halves on doubles. Now on the second car, they're working away. So at this point, we now have one car that's bought and paid for. We've now put on a second car that's bought and paid for. And now we basically have, when it doubles again, let's just say hypothetically from 50,000, so at 100,000, now we're actually starting to bang out two sell halves on doubles orders. One from the first car and one from the second car, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Market comes back down, and now it's time to put on a third car. And so, like I said, I'm going to average my way in here. I don't know what this guy's plan is. I do know that he's a cheeky bugger, and I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. So I do like the idea of, you know, low risk management. I never put more than 5% of my money at risk on any one single play. I think my total exposure on this thing right now is probably about 1, maybe 2% of my whole portfolio. You know, on the lower time frames, down to the daily, I just really just broke the recent range apart. Like I said, I was more than happy just to go and grab some of this market structure level, but this isn't my only buy. So on this confirmation of the W, I just went and grabbed some, but at the same time, I just kept my little reloads on. Let's just keep that 78.6 on the screen just so you can see. And as the market moves higher, I'll just move my bid up just as long. Remember, we talked about the shark, right? And every time the market moves higher, okay, well, I'll just keep moving my bid up, right? They missed me here. Oh, bastards, ate them, right? But I'll just move my bid up and boom, we get filled, right? Then market moves up. And actually, I didn't do that trade, but I did do this one. So I bought a little bit there as well. And I also, you know, because this one, actually, this is a really good lesson for everybody watching too. And I noticed that a lot of new people to trading kind of miss this. You notice how there are some holes on this chart. There's a hole right there. Big hole. You see that hole?
Mm-hmm.
There's also a hole right there. And there's also a hole right there. So I've also got another bid working right down in this area, fully anticipating that he could pull some cheeky cheeks and come down here and want to fill in these bids. Totally understandable. Not a, you know, pound, as Da Vinci would say. When was the last time we ever heard Brian pound the table? But when I do get, you know, actually we had a really cool setup in Bitcoin. We called it the Altangunator. Did you guys see that tweet? I think I was talking about it earlier.
I don't think so.
The most beautiful setup on Bitcoin. Totally was pounding the table on that one. But something like this, we're getting great trade location. Now, if I start pulling up my indicators, there we are. Now, I want to go to my indicators for the, all right, dudes, this is time to load up. We can start really going hunted setups here. We're coming down into some interesting levels. Very interesting. Let's keep an eye out for divergence. What I really like to see out of my MACD indicators, I'd like to see down, up, a nice test of this low, and then a turn back up. So right now, as far as I can see, we've got the down, up, but to actually get this down that registers a higher low than that, and for it to be divergence, actually I do need to see price make a lower low here. So as I said, I'm still thinking this thing's pointing lower, right? I just don't have the divergence coming in here yet. We do see that our overbought, oversold indicator is quite comfortably oversold. Great, perfect. Does it make sense here that if you wanted to be a seller, that'd be a really bad idea to be a seller here, right?
Yep.
Does that make any sense? You guys have heard me squawk about this for a while now, I hope.
Oh yeah.
So I think, if you are wanting to sell Nautilus, this is not the time to be thinking. Let this get out of stupid. It might take a month or two. Remember, this guy's a bit cheeky. We're probably going to see some fishing against these lows. Let's let the divergence come in and confirm itself. When you see all of that develop, then we can start pound the table. This thing's going to the moon, right? Let's hit the ball. But right now, the way I'm looking at it is he's engineering some sort of backup. He's got, and the worst part about this, right, is he might even watch this. I doubt he'll watch this, but he might get word of this. He might watch this, and he might just say, yeah, fuck it. Let's just let this thing just die. He might. It's totally possible. This is crypto, right? We saw that on Arch. How many people are living in Mobies these days, Alex?
Yeah, let's not talk about that. But I think what you were saying earlier too, with
big echo on your
from
on
Brian.
your side, Brian.
There, it's gone.
On my side? Oh, sorry, I don't know what I did.
Oh, maybe it wasn't you. I don't know. Anyways, carry on.
Yeah, like I think you had a good point too of like BK. He's very experienced. Like Brian Kelly, the guy from CNBC, he's not running this without any knowledge or team involved in trading capital markets. So I don't see it like disappearing overnight or like really going down to one Satoshi like you would see from maybe Max Kaiser kind of projects. But
hey, I just moved those Max coins over to Ubic. I'm trading in Russia now. Woo!
Oh my God, Brian! No, not Ubic.
You never go full YOLO bit, Brian.
Oh,
well, my attitude is, on Cryptopia, for example, I moved over dead coins that Bitterix said were worthless, and now on Cryptopia, I'm sitting on 1.84 BTC. And I've got 1.2 worth of technically dead coins. But I'm sitting on 1.8 BTC out of just farming these quote unquote dead coins.
So what's the general consensus after doing that? I mean, do they usually just shoot to the moon right away after they're delisted from Bittrex?
Yeah, a little column A, a little column B. Like the pod stocks, the pod coins, they all took off here recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
And STV, cute little name. Remember Jesse? Did you see Jesse's tweet today? I was like, Jesse, the reason why you like those coins is not because of the story. It's because of something else. But that's between Jesse and me. I'm just pulling his chain. But anyway, the point is that I see them moving. Cryptopia is a funny exchange because it's very illiquid, right? And if you can work orders at your levels, keep in mind the public, they panic buy, they panic sell, whatever. But if you work your orders at your levels on Cryptopia and don't chase, for God's sakes, don't chase on Cryptopia. But if you work your orders at your levels and you're nice and patient, you'd be surprised the fills that you get. So I think there is a combination. I also see too, in this space, just before coins are going to be delisted, they'll just ramp them up, right? We saw that on an 8-bit. Did you see 8-bit recently? Same sort of thing.
I haven't seen that one in ages, actually.
Yeah, well, I remember, and that's the weird part about this space, is that I remember a time when everybody was 8-bit, 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 ooh, 8-bit, 8-bit, 8-bit. And now nobody's interested in these names at all. Like PASC, remember? Everybody was talking about that PASC. I don't hear anybody talking about that anymore. It's so weird.
I mean, there's just so many new coins coming out every other day, and now it's the big ICO rage. So all these kind of traditional cryptocurrencies have fallen to the wayside in terms of popularity. But
yeah,
you never know when they're just going to shoot.
In a weird sort of way, Alex wants to get me going on a little, token on his chain, to sort of monetize our portfolio. But in a weird sort of way, I'm almost actually reluctant. I almost want to let this whole cycle pass because I know there's going to be some absolute disasters with these ICOs, absolute total disasters. And I don't want anybody to look at me and go, I don't know. Why did you do this? Was this all to scam the consumer? Was this all to, you know, big fraud, blah, 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 blah? Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
No, it's a valid concern.
Did we talk enough about Nautilus here?
Yeah. So let me give it another spin of the old wheel here. You guys see it?
And just full disclosure for the public, I am a net buyer of Nautilus down here. I think it's really worth taking the risk on.
Boom, boom, boom. Oh, we got ETH. I guess we already did that.
Yep, skip it.
Spin the wheel again. Round and round she goes. There's like 40 coins on here. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, by the way, if you're new and this is your first time watching, look out for our tweet at twitter.com/Coinigy the day of the show, and you will be able to request coins to be thrown on the wheel. But I think we're going to have to maybe start throwing in some additional criteria, like a coin's going to have 2 votes or something like that.
Yeah.
Way too many.
So we got Omni. Omni is a colored coin protocol. It's the Bitcoin network, and it's where a lot of ICOs happen. One of the first ones, MadeSafe, happened using the Omni network.
Okay, interesting.
Greg's favorite coin, eh?
Is it? I don't know. I thought Greg had a lot of favorite coins. He got me to buy a couple of shitty ones that I'm harping him about.
I remember he was in love with this thing a while ago. You know, I think on balance, and Greg, miss you, buddy. Would love to see you around. I hope you're doing well in life. I think what I see here is, you know, a very typical market structure. Hopefully you guys can see this. We've all been working together long enough. This is probably a broken record, right? Down, up, down, breakout, pull back, you test that original high. You know, your time to just load the boat was kind of like here. You know, like on that Nautilus that I was just talking about, right? I think Nautilus is kind of like at this stage right now. You know, for you to actually know that there's a solid bottom going, you really want to see an action like this. This is really textbook. It's quite pretty, actually. You could even almost argue that it's to a certain degree kind of artistic. Very symmetrical bottom. You know, when I look at this, it's very pretty to me. Especially too, you know, viewers, check this out, right? Do you see this bigger W? In fact, this thing made a lot of W's. There's an original W that formed over here, and I'm looking at the Bittrex chart. Should we look at it on Bittrex or somewhere else?
Yeah, Bittrex.
Your call. The only thing is the Bittrex one has that huge first bar, but
yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just concentrating on here. Double bottom was actually confirmed, right? And you can see there's the lowest low. Beautiful little tight little double bottom right in there. And then what I noticed, and this might even be a shark setup, is, you know, let's see. Yeah, look at that. So 78.6 in this case, it actually proved to be the actual double bottom level. See that? Isn't that incredible? And I often see this with venture capital, right? Remember what Will's caution. Please, viewers, you need to understand this. This is about the most cutting edge venture capital market you can possibly get. So, you know, prices are extremely volatile, but I actually like to listen to the market's message sometimes. And I noticed in venture capital, especially when I was a penny stockbroker, you know, when I was trading crude, right? Crude's a big fat product, right? And a lot of people are participating in it. And crude loves to pivot off to 61.8. In fact, we call that our mountain man level. Probably one of the best crude traders I ever knew, this guy named Brandon Riga. Call him Mountain Man. He just owned 61.8. But in venture capital, I often see that the real battle is not 61.8. It's this 78.6. And in fact, some of my students are like, Brian, you know, great. You know, and I like to call this 78.6 the line in the sand. And here's a fantastic sort of analogy of that, in that market's going to come down against this level, and literally, if this is still a bull, there is going to be a battle royale off of this level. And you can see how the market tried to bottom off it, then it lost it, then it came right back to it, then it came lost it, then right back to it, and then recaptured it, and then it becomes support. This is like the hallmark of venture capital. So if anything, seeing this type of price action, and you know, with my site members, we do like an hour-long video every day. I don't know whether you viewers know that, you want to listen to Brian ranting and spewing this stuff on a daily basis, we do this like an hour every single day for viewers, and they love it. We have like a hangout, and it's always packed. And we got people sitting on the side rooms into YouTube. That room fills up too. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. But anyway, so on a daily basis, we go through this, and this is why I can say, you know, like one of our site members, Kevin, is shark, because we're just talking about this every single day. Hey, did you see the trades Kevin did? Oh, shark. Anyway, this is a great analogy of literally the capitalist process, where 78.6 is the battle line, right? And when it resolves and it recaptures that level, rock and roll, right? And the beautiful thing is you got this awesome little double bottom that actually, and a lot of coins that I trade, I might just go in little old lady little old lady here and here. I love 78.6, might even work some stink bits. And what ends up happening, I find time and time again, it's so cool, is because of this battle and the significance of 78.6, I might like average my way in over a number of purchases, and what ends up happening is my average cost is just about exactly where the market eventually ends up breaking out. So, you know, this is a lesson to you guys. This, you know, if you can see this, it's a total mess, sorry. But the point here is this is what you want to see. Double bottom, 78.6, battle off of it, and right here, I remember in the springtime, we were like, rah, Omni. I was totally jazzed about it. And we loaded up, and we did very, very well. We got rewarded very handsomely. But the question here now becomes, does the market look like this now? No. And if anything, do you see what if we had to describe a letter of the alphabet here, what letter of the alphabet are we kind of seeing? Are we seeing W's? Or are we seeing maybe a different letter of the alphabet?
We'll let the audience chime in here.
Is that an X? No.
An X. Well,
so a Y?
Okay, let's make this a little easier for you. What are you supposed to think? What are you supposed to say? And Will, you hopefully you remember this. I used to bug Rob, and well, we haven't seen Rob in a while, have we?
Yep, Rob's still around.
Oh, I know he's still around.
He's the man behind the mirror, or whatever it is, the Wizard of Oz thing.
So, what are we supposed to be thinking if we ever see the market smiling at us?
You're about to get bent over, I think, is your phrase of choice.
Yeah. And the worst part about this one is that I trade a trend continuation strategy. And the trend continuation strategy, I like to call it the BATT, and it just basically gets you in. And I had, you know, one low. Let's see this. I had one low, two lows, three lows, nice market structure. This thing was ready to rock and roll. You see that nice tight consolidation and breakout?
Mm-hmm.
This thing was ready to go. And it rallied up against previous highs, and then it crapped out, and we had to walk away. And this is a trader's life, guys. I mean, this is setups fail. In fact, do you know offhand, what's the average percentage accuracy that a CME floor trader is actually looking for on a day-to-day basis?
I think you said somewhere around 66%.
Well, that's my favorite number.
That's yours, okay.
Yeah. And keep in mind that traders, they need to be trading every single day. So they're not necessarily going to be trading trend continuation. They might, but typically they're trading ranges. And they're actually, and it's shocking when a lot of people hear this, but they only really want to be quote unquote right about 55, 60% of the time, which means that they're more than happy getting stopped out, you know, 30, 40+% of the time. And if you want to trade, right, a big difference between little old lady, nibbles, less than 5% of my portfolio in any one name, sell halves on doubles, just let my money work at good trade location, and quote unquote trading for a living. Going to be taking a little bit bigger bets. If your setups fail, you gotta walk. But of course, if they work, what has to happen relative to the risk that you took?
Take profits.
Well, more importantly, you get paid.
Yeah.
Right? You get paid relatively more than the risk that you were willing to take. So here's an example where I did play a setup trying to look for a nice AB equals CD, and it just never came in. She's crapped out now. And frankly speaking, I just don't see anything to get too excited about here right now. Sucks, just the way it is.
That's life, but
like
at least you didn't, you know, lose the farm over it. You apportioned a certain amount, and
yeah, it was interesting. Like, you know, this was a bot setup that failed. I think I actually traded. No, it wasn't. What's the one that? Oh, PIVX, the one that's associated with Dash. I think this is it. PIVX.
Yeah, it's the fork of Dash.
Right. So this was one where we had a same sort of logic. We had nice little A, B, C, D, painted a target up here. Nice little consolidation, took the long, got paid. You know, was willing to risk there, took profits up here, 3-to-1 risk reward. So, you know, it's just a trader's life, right? You just got to get in there and just keep taking setups. So, all right, what do you think? Did we do that coin justice, Omni?
I think so.
Yeah. You guys see the wheel here? I'll do maybe one more spin while we got some time.
Sure.
So let me remove that round.
All right, so people are thinking there's bearish haramis on ETH right now.
Oh, this is a good one to look at. Zcash. ZEC.
Zebra Edward Charlie.
Yes.
Yep.
We want to look at this in versus BTC or versus USD or versus Ethereum.
Let's stick with the BTC pairing.
And the irony of it all is, man, your arbitrage matrix must just be going crazy right now, Will. I don't even know if you can keep track.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I honestly haven't even taken a look at it today. Thanks for reminding me.
There's so many different crosses now, eh? I mean, there must be like 1,000 of them now. All right, what did we say? Do we want to do it versus BTC or USD?
BTC is what Alex said.
Okay, and what exchange do we want to look at?
Let's go to Poloniex. They started trading first. You got that 3,000 Bitcoins per one coin candle.
Oh, you remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Fun, eh? Yeah, I remember that. That was funny. That guy's bot was like, it was a runaway bot or something like that, wasn't it?
There's a bunch of people who lost money on the first day, and I don't understand why anyone thought that anything above parity was a good idea to buy.
Well, you know, I mean, I can understand, especially this is nice structure in here. In fact, this is what we call a narrow sideways channel. You see how price just, oops, that was interesting. Let's try that again. You see how, one more go, there we go. All right, so can you see how we just sort of settled into this sort of trading range in here? I know lots of guys that would probably look at this as a AB and clone that. If we get the breakout through the top, CD, shooting for a target up into there, that wouldn't have been a bad target window. It's pretty respectable. You know, I suppose you could argue, if anything, this is really a good testament why I like to trade triple bottoms kind of idea. But you can see they had 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows. If you bought this breakout here, right? If you raced against here, we actually call this the noob stop. Why? Because the noobs get stopped out. And you can see they even went after this low. Boom. And really, you can see these tails. All they're doing is they're fishing down here, jerks. But they couldn't go after this third low. Interesting, eh? So if you had your stop against this low, that would have kept you in the trade. Up, boom, 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 boom. Cute little M up top here. And of course, seasonally, this was right on cue. It's just, it was so cliche. Oh my God, ridiculous. And the interesting thing is our term, our last term started here. Whoops. Started here. And it was remarkable to watch the enthusiasm of all the new students. And, you know, Brian trying desperately to calm people down. And actually, I was very pleased to see the market act like this here because they got a really, really good lesson. All of my level oneers, they just got a monster lesson in not chasing markets. And hopefully the public didn't get sucked into that too hard. Well, you know, what are we supposed to say if we see the market smiling at us, right? There's a little bit of a happy face up top there. Looks like they tried to break the market here, but just couldn't. But definitely a very well-defined happy face up here. Be interesting to also see whether there was any divergences or anything on this move versus this move. That might have been a tell. Let's see. Hey, there we go. Right on cue. I love how cliche this shit is. So hopefully everybody in the audience, right? And this is why I really like to use the MACD histogram to identify these divergences. Hopefully everybody can see that market went up high here. We went to new highs in price, but no new highs in the momentum indicator. And really nasty little double top in our momentum oscillator. And you can see how he's just sort of cleaned himself up here. I suppose one could argue, you know, all of these names. And, you know, I was putting out tweets earlier today. You know, we were mentioning JC. If you're watching this, I got to get my address to you so I can get some of Will's swag. He looks so handsome in that shirt of his. But JC and I were just sort of bantering earlier how we kind of felt like, number one, they took the fluff out of the market. The noobs just got schooled big time. And I actually feel like there's some basis coming in here. This is, I'm seeing a lot of this kind of, you know, the good part about it, at least the fluff is gone. Phew, right? You can actually see, can you see the bullish divergence that's actually built in here? I thought that was interesting. And if anything, for us to really know that this thing is serious, is we got to see the buyers come back. If anything here, guys, can you see, everybody watching in the audience, great example of volume impetus. In essence, I don't know whether you ever learned that. Did either of you guys stick in the course long enough to learn volume impetus?
I don't think I got to that point.
No, I don't think so.
Really powerful tool.
I know you've mentioned it on this show quite a few times.
Yeah. So can you guys see how price went to a higher high here? But the volume, the actual buying pressure, was nowhere near that old high. Right, so everybody, you know, next cycle, if you're looking for tops and not want to get sucked into buying the top, this should be a major, major warning sign to you. Something is not right with this bull, all right? This is what we call, in essence, this is a volume divergence. I teach a concept called impetus, which simply we want to watch who's sort of driving the bus. Who's got the ball, if you will, if this was a football game, who's on offense, who's on defense. And I don't necessarily see that the Bulls have lost control here, but they've really kind of gone to sleep. It looks like to me too, though, that the Bears aren't really that interested at these prices either. It's interesting that we had this little bullish divergence developing here. So, and you can see Willie is stupidly oversold. So really, this thing has the green light to get going again. It's just somebody's got to step in and want to buy this thing. Do you know, ZEC, is there any fundamental drivers or anything coming up that might actually give a person a reason to be a buyer of this thing?
I mean, we're getting close to, well, I don't know. I don't hear a lot of information. I think it comes down to what's called the mining market. Like, say Ethereum goes proof of stake or some version of it, or it's no longer profitable to mine Ethereum. A lot of the Ethereum mining community is very in like watching Zcash very closely. So I think anything related to mining is going to be the biggest driver of Zcash news. And keep in mind, it is very closely tied to Ethereum's privacy developments.
Yeah, Zcash had so much hype early on, and I haven't heard anything about it in the, maybe the past year.
I have one alumni, actually. He's a level 3 guy. And just so you know, Alex, for whatever it's worth, all the guys in the lounge are saying we really want you on the broiler chicken show more. So just so you're aware of that.
Yeah, send me the invite.
I have one gentleman, Sean, down in LA, and he absolutely swears by this Zcash story. He says it's going to change the world. I don't know. I don't understand the fundamentals of why people are so jazzed about this.
Blockchain.
Pardon?
Oh, I was saying blockchains like technology, even though there is some encryption built in, they're very transparent and very public. Whereas like a Zcash is using I forget the name of the technology, but they have a solution for privacy by encrypting a large portion of like the blockchain data and just like the overall how it runs. It's not my favorite privacy solution, but it is definitely one to keep an eye on. It's very good science. Yeah, you can read this Zcoin protocol. There's a white paper on it if you really want to learn more. It's very technical though.
Can you see how the symmetricality of this chart? I got a funny feeling. Do you see how it went back and forth here, back and forth, big spike up, spike straight down, back and forth, back and forth. I got a funny feeling you're going to get some sort of spike here. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I wouldn't be surprised on the other side of that, we actually have to do this. Remember a year or two ago, we did that on IOC, that market symmetry study?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Right? So can you see the symmetry here? It's almost like this is the start of the move, and this is the middle. And if we go market symmetry and just flip this around, I got a funny feeling that this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah, it's key thing to remember is Zcash has really high inflation right now, but it does have a lot of funding because they have the funding from who is it? Barry Silbert. He's the guy behind GPTC. Roger Ver is one of their funders.
Big supporter of Ethereum Classic too.
ETC, yes. Right? Yeah, doesn't he want to make a ETC ETF? I'm gonna try saying that 10 times fast.
He's like I would call him the lead dev for ETC, but yeah, he's not a developer. He's just really well connected and well financed.
Well, I think I'll probably leave it at that, right? In that you want to know that this thing's bottom, show me somebody stepping up here, right? Show me. What I really want to see out of the bulls is I want to see higher highs and higher lows out of the bulls, right? Step up here, bulls. Right now, I think, price momentum, it's gotten its ass kicked. Probably going to be some sort of dead cat bounce. I hope that isn't it. That would really suck. But, for you to really know that this is a bull, we got to see some buyers step up here. It's just that simple, really.
Good deal.
And then one thing I wanted to point out before we're done. I honestly believe this, and I've been telling my community this for a while. I honestly believe that if you want a leading indicator in this space, watch Dash. I don't know why. I just heard today that they're actually being accepted, that you can use them on the Apple platform now, which I thought was really odd news.
That's
the Apple platform.
That's very odd because they weren't like Jax had to remove them from the iOS wallet because of Apple said it wasn't an approved cryptocurrency. So
Did you see that news today?
No,
yeah, right. That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Keith says
Dash passes Apple's review process and becomes available on iOS apps.
Oh, okay. So they just kind of reversed that previous ruling, I think.
Yeah, well.
Oh, okay, so it must be with Jax.
The message that I really wanted to get across was: do you see? If we look at a lot of these coins, they kind of look like where Dash looked like a couple months ago, right? Big face plant. And we're seeing a lot of these coins trying to sort of get off their knees and cleaning themselves up a bit, right? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And my advice, I don't know when I'm going to be talking to this audience again, but my advice is expect this. This is what I think you need to expect out of the majority of the crypto space over the next month or two.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some little FUs to try and get the FOMOers in, and there's also going to be some FUs to try and bust them out. But on balance, I think we actually are in a consolidation phase.
Well, the next 2 months are when a lot of capital markets people take the summer off. They go to Burning Man with their family and shit. So,
with their family. That is not where you take your family. Well, maybe now, but.
Right?
Well, I'll find out. I'm actually going to Burning Man this year, and I'm staying in I call it the Ethereum camp, but I think the official name is Camp Decentral. So there's going to be a lot of Ethereum people there, and I'll try and get some cool interviews and stuff. But I fully see a lot of stuff.
There's no electricity there, though, is there?
No. That's the thing. You have to bring your entire camp. So that's the main reason I wanted to go is because I got invited to this camp, and I knew it wouldn't be very much camping. It'd be more glamping. Like they're talking about bringing a mobile steam room unit and stuff.
Yeah, I know. Total. I mean, they're gonna have like generators and stuff. Totally defeating the whole purpose of Burning Man.
Oh yeah, like it's the fintech camp at the sharing economy event. So it will be kind of funny to see, but yeah, that's coming up in the next month here. I gotta make sure I got everything sorted.
I love the fact that you're living life, man. I live vicariously through you.
Me too. I'm always in this stuffy little office here, and Alex is traveling the world. I tell you.
Well, I'm in Vancouver here to finalize my roadmap, and then I'll be stuck in the basement a lot longer coding again. So right now it's just kind of getting things sorted for Ubic so we can actually have a business plan, because I'm kind of gone full-time crypto in the last 2 months now, and then just now it's kind of like a working holiday right now, but it's going to be a lot of work in the next year. So look for a big announcement soon, kind of detailing our full roadmap.
Good deal. That's exciting. All right.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for you, man. Yeah, are you gonna head to Nigeria and close the deals there?
Most of our Nigeria deals didn't pan out.
Aren't you like the son of a prince or something?
No, I mean, I am the I don't know, heir to the dairy empire that is my dad.
Yes, right. Yep.
But that massive tractor holding in to catch on fire again?
Oh my god, I think it's still sitting in a shed somewhere. They need to work on it this winter, I think. But I'll buy my old man a new tractor someday. I'm just we were talking about doing like a crypto project with buying land and tokenizing like farmland. I thought it'd be kind of cool. Like people would get the value of renting property to farmers or something. But that's like 2 more years down the roadmap. We're gonna do a couple of real estate projects first to kind of work out the kinks. We have a really exciting future coming up here. That's why I've been kind of buzzing on Cloud9. Brian, you and I will sit down. I could use another take on it in the next couple of days here.
Okay. Oh, man, and you got me on YouTube, but you've got me Saturday. Okay.
All right. What about tomorrow night, Brian? That's something I just got an email about during the show here. Ross Gerber Kawasaki is confirmed to be on Blocktalk tomorrow night. He is the manager of the Kawasaki hedge fund, which is like a technical fund.
Oh, cool. Kind of like Simon stuff.
Yeah. So he does a lot of tweeting on like the Snapchat price, and he's interested in Bitcoin. So we're going to do a little open discussion on ICOs and how it kind of relates to the .com boom and where capital markets are now. Because I think Snapchat did really well because of this thing called the Robinhood app. Like anyone could buy stock really easily through this app.
It's a great app.
And crypto isn't even there yet, and we're seeing the same sort of like kind of millennials, being able to send money anywhere and buying quote unquote stocks. So that's where it's going to be an interesting conversation tomorrow. Kind of get a taste of what he thinks, or what is the capital markets view of ICOs right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Thursday belongs to Liam. So if he's agreeable, then I'll tune in. But he's priority number one. My boy gets Thursdays and Sundays. I'm 100% his.
All right. No.
Well, it'll be recorded too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'll call in. I'll watch you online. I'll be cheering from you from the bleachers. Don't get me wrong. Unfortunately, Thursdays that's Liam. Liam owns that. No ifs, ands, or buts.
So yeah, and then Saturday is the blockchain and gaming panel. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's going to be at Decentral.
Yeah, and then afterwards we have a guy from Bitcoin Unlimited showing up to kind of talk about the hard forking from their perspective. So it's going to be a very heated discussion.
Get Greg to come out.
Yes, yeah, I'll tell Greg. I'm going to meet with him before I leave town here too. So I'll slide you guys both into my busy schedule. I'll have some R&R time. Yeah, cool.
Maybe hey, we're telling the world this. So I'm sorry. Maybe we should talk about this after the show. Do we want to talk about any more?
I thought we were wrapping, so I was just kind of doing my bit about block talks. What are the block talks coming up?
Yeah, it was a subtle block talk reference there.
Oh, that was a sales pitch. That's what.
Oh yeah. I don't even know you're being sold.
Speaking of sales pitches, Brian, don't you run some kind of something else outside of this?
Yeah, we've got a website that we run. It's called the rationalinvestor.co. Kind of a fun little site. You can see this is what I wake up to every day, just a bazillion messages. We have a really cool interface, a really nice chat room. You guys really super friendly environment. I got to tell you, I'm very proud of the job that Stuart and Julian have done. It's a really beautiful experience. And the great part about it, I think I've told you guys this before, and a lot of people actually, they can't understand my motivation. I'm motivated very bizarrely. So, actually, I highly encourage you guys, take advantage of me while you got me. Just suck every little piece of information out of my head and put it into yours. All right. I'm here to help you guys.
And you're going on a world tour soon, so
the school has just gone absolutely haywire. And if anything, I think, frankly speaking, I didn't actually expect a lot of people to be that interested, and it's just gone absolutely crazy. Like we started the last term in May, and the fall semester was sold out before the end of the first week of June. I mean, it didn't make any sense to me. These people are basically giving, they're buying a product. Don't get me wrong. I'm a man of my word. They're going to get their product, but they're buying a product that doesn't even start, for another 4 or 5 months, and they're just like, take my money, take my money. And I don't really want to. I actually want to slow this down. But, we could easily sell out the product for 2018. It's this ridiculous amount of people that are coming. So we must be doing something right.
Mm-hmm. Write a book, Brian.
Yeah, something like that. So, actually I decided what I want to do the winter of 2018 is I actually want to visit. And I actually want to create almost like a little bit of a documentary in a way. I want to see how this information has actually changed people's lives. I actually want to visit these people. And we have students from every corner of the world. And I'd really like to take the opportunity to see what kind of change we've affected.
That is such an awesome idea.
Yeah.
How do we invest or back you on that? I'm serious. Like, Coinigy will throw in some sponsorship there. Like, that's an awesome idea.
Yeah. It's, again, I'm not motivated by money. I could give a rat's ass about money. Money's not important to me. So, it might be just something along the lines that I'll just wear a Coinigy shirt every once in a while when I do a little video.
Well, I'm just saying, just in general, we don't even need to get any advertising out of it. It's just, I'd love to see that actually happen. So
I would like to, and what I really want to do is for the site, we do daily videos. Like I said, I do like an hour-long video for the site every day. And what I'd actually like to do is I'd like to do the daily briefs from people's homes, right? Hey, here's Oscar right beside me. I've always wanted to visit Oscar. He lives in absolute hell right now. He's in Venezuela. Downtown, absolute chaos central.
Hey.
And I would, but from what I understand is the information that I gave him really sort of gave him confidence that, hey, I can get through this, right? And I hope, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I want to visit Dav. I want to see what life in Chile's like. And he actually referred one of his buddies to the program, Mauricio, who's getting married in March. And he asked me to come to the wedding. I'd love to do like a daily brief. wedding.
Give
Hey,
it
boy
up.
scout. So that's kind of what I'd like to do next winter, and of course, winter in Vancouver, blah. So if I could, hit the road for 3 or 4 months and maybe clean out the cobwebs in my head and kind of come and, really see what crypto has done to people's lives, I think it'd be a really, really cool adventure.
Good deal.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. And by all means, like I said, this is our site, and I think we're really making some positive change in this world. We're doing JoJo's work here. And the cool part about it is that, I always said that I always know that it wasn't some sort of fantasy, because she said, Brian, you really got to learn to listen to people. And I've really listened. And it's been a real pleasure, meeting and listening to both of you, and listening to all.
Well, hey, it's been awesome listening to you over these years too. So right back at you.
Thanks,
Yeah, we
man.
need to hear the testimonials of people increasing their financial literacy. Like what sort of things are possible when you take control of your own wealth and utilize this technology, which is like the low fees, the control, I'd really love to hear the stories of people, because we know how successful you've been, Brian, but there's got to be success coming for in people's personal lives that's going to spread throughout and really.
You know what the big
let's get a Kickstarter going here or something. Hire a camera crew, follow you around.
Well, I do know that we've made some people extremely wealthy. I mean, like some young kids, they are like very wealthy people. Maybe too wealthy for their age. It's a little embarrassing. So that's great. But I think more importantly, kind of like what you said there, Alex, is what I really like is now these people have actually become sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Beacons.
Like emissaries of good behavior. And Alex, you were even telling me before that what's ended up happening, you could even see this in your chat rooms and stuff. You're not hearing so much about wrecked and FOMO and all those kind of nasty things. Just because this idiot Brian, stockbroker, smartass, loudmouth guy just keeps coming week after week with the same damn message, right? And it's eventually sinking in, and people are actually, you know what, maybe I shouldn't go balls to the wall here, kind of thing.
There's more people in crypto today because of you, yes.
Well, I hope so. And like I said, what I'd really like to see is how that's, to a certain degree, really, I want to change the world, right? And let's start just from one person at a time and affect change. So now you get me all emotional.
Well, on that note.
Anyway, all right. Enough of the sales pitch. I'm just another guy. I'm not some big hootin' falutin' dude. I'm just another guy just trying to help you guys out.
And we appreciate it.
All right,
everybody. I don't think anybody's ever described you as hootin' and falutin'. I don't think that's ever come out of my mouth ever.
Well, if you go on Twitter, I'm sure you could probably find an insult somewhere in there.
Oh yeah.
It'll be a trending hashtag soon.
Anyways, on that note,
Isaac, you know what? I really enjoy talking to you guys.
Likewise.
It's a real pleasure. So thank you very much.
Likewise, yeah. I mean, we're real thankful that for what you do, Brian. There's no question. So, and Alex as well, of course. But
God, don't worry about me.
No,
yeah,
well,
Alex is a little. Alex isn't
honest,
falutin', but he's a little hootin',
Yeah,
not
I'm
full
known to hoot.
Well, that's referring to something else.
But,
Speaking of which, there's a VR system here that people are lining up to start playing, so I'm gonna have to pack her in here.
All right. Well,
all right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really sure hope I've helped you. The boys, they've done an absolute fabulous job as far as I'm concerned. I'll be quiet now. Good night. God bless.
Good night, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll throw in my little plug. Like and subscribe, and you'll be notified of the next show, which we estimate is 2 weeks from now, but I've been completely dropping the ball lately, but I'm trying to do my best to make sure it happens. So We'll see you soon, and happy trails until then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Toodles.